So, are you a beginning gardener or are you a seasoned pro? Today, you can follow me along because we're going to take and turn this into our future garden for the year. So stick with me and let's get to it. So last year, we struggled a lot. We struggled a lot with our soil because this soil looks fairly decent and it's getting a lot better. We've been adding some compost and stuff to it. Although it looks pretty decent right now, you can see right here, it will compact. It'll compact pretty tight. So this has got a lot of clay in it. So we're still amending it every year in order to get a little bit better. Because last year we had so much rain that this soil had a hard time draining, and it really put a damper on our tomatoes. Our tomatoes throughout the season, they didn't develop a real strong root system, so therefore they didn't survive and they didn't thrive through the hot summer months. Because like you heard me say before, foundation is the key to everything, and this right here is our foundation to our garden. So we're going to add a little bit of soil amendments again this year in hopes that maybe we can get some better drainage. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to lay out our garden. We're going to measure and see how we're going to lay this thing out in order to get the most efficiency out of this garden for the amount of vegetables that we're going to be planting. We don't want our tall crops towering over and providing shade to plants that don't need shade. But we're also going to lay it out to where some of the stuff that might need a little more shade, that doesn't like that direct sunlight, we're going to plant those to where some of the taller crops will actually provide the shade. Alright, as you can see, this is the space we have to work with. And it's not very bad, but if you'll notice right now, notice the shade. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're already getting a lot of shade. So we have a lot of trees around that can provide a lot of shade in the mornings, and we've got some that will provide us some of the evening shade. But what we want to do is the ground will slope down this way, so we want to make sure the ground slopes back down this way. So from this direction all the way down, it's going to slope. So we know that we want to make sure that we plant our rows in the right direction. And you can see on this side of the garden, we're still fighting a little bit of grass. We're going to till this in a little more today. And next year, at the end of the season, we want to make sure that we put some black plastic over the top so we can try to kill out some of these roots. So with this space here, it's a pretty good sized space. We've got to try to be able to fit all of our plants that we're going to plant inside of this area. We've got some of our material. I'm real big with cattle panels. I love cattle panels. You can lay them like so, and you can stand them up and you can get a straight trellis, or you can actually arch them, which we're going to do on some of them for our vining plants. Okay, right now it's midday, and you can see midday, right around noon, we're getting the most amount of sun right over in this corner, a little less shade. So this is about to be in the sun here. This will all disappear, the shade will disappear. There'll be a lot more sun out on this area over here. So this is going to get hotter. It's going to get more heat because it's going to get less of the morning sun and a lot more of the afternoon sun. And as the sun comes over this way, this section here is going to shade this area right through here, and it's going to shade it on that real hot summertime sun. So we put all that in to calculate what we're going to actually do and how we're going to set up, and we're going to match our plants that we're going to plant with loves the summer heat. We're going to put them up here in this corner because this one's going to get morning sun. Most of the evening sun is going to get close to 10 hours of sunlight a day. So our really hot loving plants like okra and some of the peppers, we're going to put them up over here. And some of them that like that afternoon shade, like some of our tomatoes that we're going to grow, we're going to give them most of that morning and midday and mid-afternoon sun, and when it gets the hottest, then it'll be shaded. So that's how we lay out stuff around here to make sure, and you want to make sure that you rotate. You don't always want your tomatoes over in this area. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and drive one of our posts here, and we're going to go ahead and set up two of our arches here in the middle. And this is where we're going to put our sun lovers on one side, and our more shade lovers, the ones that like that evening sun shade, we'll put it on the other side of this arch. There's one. Let's get another. You could use bigger T-posts, smaller, it doesn't matter. I found these at the local garden center down here. These things were like maybe $1.50, $2. Some was right at $3. I know you can get the big ones, the cheap, big, normal T-posts for about $3, $4 a piece, but some of them you just don't need that much, you know. These right here will do just the same as what I need it for. So, and they're easier to drive into the ground. Now we're going to put it on this edge where this one post should be able to zip tie them, and this one post should hold two sides of this. Just like so. And there's one arch. We're going to do the same for this other side. Now you can see we've got these two arches up and ready to go. What we'll do is we'll take some zip ties and we'll help tie these together to help hold them. And this is going to give me a great arch for these climbing, vining tomatoes. Well, let me rephrase that. The tomatoes will have to tie to it and let them hang. But on the other side, if we do cucumbers on this side, they'll naturally climb up this. And we can put beans or whatever, the pole beans, they'll do as well on some of these. So we've got several more arches like this we're going to go ahead and put up. We're making this look a little more aesthetic and more pleasing to the eye. So you've got a picture all of this here with growth on it, and then you walk in this tunnel and all of this growth, and then we put two out this way and you got all of this growth. It's going to look amazing. Well, in my eyes, it's going to look amazing. Let's finish. Now then, we'll line these up. We'll try to get them straight with each other to make sure they look nice. Now let's count our panels and see how many we have left and whether or not we can go that way or whether or not we're going to use them somewhere else. This is awesome. That's going to leave me with about, I think, one panel left. Now then, there we go. Once we get all the zip tied together, it can't go. It's not going anywhere. There we go. We got one panel left. We managed to get all of this stuff up. Bear with me. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some enriched topsoil, and we're going to put it in these areas and till it in, along with some expanded shell. Don't have to worry about the rain. If it does rain like it did last year, we shouldn't have to worry about a drainage problem. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take these zip ties and we're going to zip tie this stuff together, and I'll show you how to do that. And then we'll take a short break and cool off a little bit and get ready to plan the topsoil and get the garden itself, the soil ready, and then we'll get those stressed out tomatoes that's been inside of this greenhouse and get them into the ground and let them start flourishing. When we go to zip tie these, we're going to zip tie these to the post itself. So we got both these panels together, and we're going to zip tie both of them over to this post, and it'll secure those. We're going to take them, we're going to take these and we're going to zip tie them together. And that in itself is going to help build strength in these. Alright, just like that, we'll finish this up. Good to go. Alright, I do want to show you something that I found in the garden, and this is just to prove to you that even though sometimes these tomatoes cannot take a frost, cannot stand the cold weather, they naturally will come up. And I've got one over here, and I'm fixing to show you, that just randomly come up, and I think we're going to actually water it and see how well it does, and see what tomato that was. I may have to look back in my logs and see exactly what I had planted over there. I'm not real sure, but we're going to take a look. So, amongst all these little weeds right over here, look what we have growing right here. That right there, my friends, is a tomato. It's a volunteer that just came up out of nowhere. So we're going to actually water it this year, and we're going to see how well it does. As you can see, we've got bags of this enriched topsoil, and the reason I got this and I didn't go with the the black cow is because this has quite a bit of clay, and the nutrients it holds plenty of nutrients. The nutrients are great. It's just we don't have enough drainage here, so I'm going to add some of this topsoil that has a lot of compost with it, and we're also going to add some of this expanded shell along, and we're just going to till it in right here where we're going to be planting all of our stuff. So let's get to it. Now that we've added all the bags, now we're going to add some of this expanded shell. We're just going to sprinkle some right around right before we till it in. Now you can see we've got ample amount of awesome composted soil here mixed in with our clay. So that's all it takes. We're fixing to plant. Now we're going to go in there and we're going to get our stuff out of the greenhouse and we're going to plant it where it goes. We want to take and we want to try to just tease the bottom of these roots, spread them out just a little bit. That way they can get a good start. And just like so, we've got it planted, and we're going to do this for the rest of them. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me as I build this garden up. If you cannot tell, I love garden trellises. I love working with these cattle panels. There's so much you can do with the cattle panel. It's about $22 or about 16 foot long, and there's so much you can do with them. I love them. I use them for everything. I use them for my cucumbers, my beans. I even put them up long ways this way, and you can tie your tomatoes up. You can tie several tomatoes up, and it's just, there's so much you can do with them. I'm going to do another video coming up in another week or so about all the different trellises you can use and why I think that the cattle panel is probably the best universal all-around panel that there is to use for gardening. Well, I hope you found this video useful. If so, think about giving it a thumbs up and think about subscribing to the channel, and also hit that bell notification and you'll be notified the next time I put a video out. And leave your comments down at the bottom. I enjoy reading your comments. I try to respond to as many as possible. Let me know down in the comments on things that you like to grow, maybe your garden trellis ideas, and how you amend your soil. And like always, keep it growing.